Hello there, podcast fans, and welcome to Series 2, Episode 2 of the How Uncivilized Podcast. Today, we continue our trip into the murky waters of Rogue One, focusing on Jyn Erso, the most interesting lead character yet. Enjoy!
So next up, we're handing it back to you for one of my questions.
Yeah, so this question was quite interesting. It's another little tidbit from your end. I think as you were trying to aggressively squeeze the juices out of Rogue One, because like we talked about pre-recording, there's a lot in the film that's actually answered, which is a good thing because it means the film was actually written properly and has a lot of thought and foreplanning going into it, which is what we like. Which is what we like.
I like a good film. Sue me.
Who doesn't like a good film? I mean, hot diggity damn. But this one's a little bit of a fun question, a little bit of a little bit jokey one. So I did a bit of research on this one, but I'll go ahead and ring it off for you right now. So it was, do you remember all the Jyn could be Rey's mother theories? Not a question, just good times, says Charlie. Well, actually, Charlie, I did do a little bit of research into this and came up with some very... I didn't come up with things. I read a few things about it, but mainly these theories came, obviously, before Rogue One was released. But I'll read them off anyway. So there were a lot of, I read an article of, why Rey is definitely, Jyn's daughter. And I'll ring. Yeah, I know. I'll ring off the reasons.
That's a bold claim and a lot of confidence.
I know. So the first one was.
Don't tell me, was it right? Was she definitely Rey's mother?
Well, they couldn't have been closer to the truth. Obviously,
I love it when it's like this is definitely true, and the film hasn't even come out yet. It's like. It's not definitely anything until the film comes out.
I know. They're just completely it's so ballsy, isn't it? It's so ballsy. Slow the Jeff down. But yeah, so the first bit was the accent. The article said they both have a Coruscantee accent.
Both of them have got British accents.
No, they call it a Coruscantee accent.
Okay.
Which they think,
Whatever.
They think British accents are from Coruscant, apparently. I assume that's because of Palpatine.
I guess.
But he was from Naboo, so what the hell?
Yeah.
What are they basing this on? What's a Coruscantee accent? They have, a range of accents.
Was Obi-Wan from Coruscant, maybe?
I don't know.
There were many people who lived on Coruscant and didn't have... You know what? Carry on. Let's not get into this now.
We could be here for literally hours. The next point was the family resemblance. So the reasoning here was the actresses look similar, which...
I mean...
Female, it's just killed me.
Brown hair... White, quite slim. Yeah, that follows, I guess. They're close enough in terms of film language to be related, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, they said in the little description of it, they could definitely be sisters. And I was like, well, no, hang on a sec. That's a whole different thing. Let's just slow down. What are you trying to say here? I don't want to know about Star Wars inbreeding.
I mean, they're born about, nearly 25 years apart, so pushing it on sisters.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, not impossible, but definitely a bit
improbable.
Much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then the third point was the denial. So apparently Daisy Ridley said, "Stop being stupid. Just because we both have brown hair and are white doesn't mean that they are related, the characters." So apparently Daisy Ridley, like, flat out denying that was a thing is apparently a reason to say it is. A reason to say it definitely is.
Daisy Ridley states the facts, and because of that, it's definitely wrong.
Cracks me up. This whole article was just a bit weird,
honestly.
And then this bit I really enjoy, which was timeline. So their reasoning was the timeline fits. So they say Rey was born 15 years after Rogue One, so Jyn would have been 40. And then I put in brackets, she dead. Sorry, she dead.
Way to remind us about the life she never led.
Yeah, I know. So she would have been 40, apparently.
I mean, to be fair, the film hadn't come out yet, so that one could be true, I guess. But, well,
that's a really rough
it's all
one,
based
though.
on the fact that they look kind of similar, and they could have been... Oh, Jyn is old enough. Yeah.
And they're both British. I mean, that's just insane.
I mean, that means nothing. That's...
I know, it means absolutely nothing. But yeah, the last point... Oh, no, it's not the last point. It's the third from last. Sorry, I got carried away then. But the next one is sacrifice. So apparently they left their daughter on Jakku. So Jyn left her daughter on Jakku. So that means she has balls and can sacrifice stuff. So that makes her... And then Jyn knew... I don't know. That was at this point I was getting really really bored and frustrated with this article.
It's definitely a stretch, to say the least.
And then the next point is Ren recognized Rey. So apparently Kylo Ren actually recognizing Rey is reason enough to say that it was Jyn, even though Kylo wouldn't have been around when Jyn was around. So I mean, that's really confusing.
What? So he recognizes one person, and because of that, the other person who he's never met but might have recognized is definitely her mother? What? No.
Yeah, I know. It's incredibly muddy and a little bit backwards. But that's this whole article. And then I just got really, fucked off in the last point, which was... literally, the last point was just, it's important. Her parentage is important. So it's got to be Jyn. So I just put it's important, blah, 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 blah. I'm just so done.
Because it's important.
Yeah, so anyway, I put all of the theories... came before the film was released.
It's something which needs addressing, therefore it will be addressed.
It will be addressed one way or the other. You will find out one day, my wise boo. So all the theories came out before the film was released, so the question was pretty much answered when Rey died, which was, nope.
Is she a mother? Nope.
Nope. She did.
I mean, there's an oncoming tidal wave in the blast radius, so I'm going to say I'm about 50-50 on the theory.
To be fair, there was all of 3 seconds where they could have snuck into a bunker.
Absolutely. You never see the body. You always have to see the body. That's
exactly.
The only way to be sure about these things.
Who knows? That kyber crystal might have protected them both.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they're shacked up in Scarif, just living their best life.
Absolutely.
On a cabin on the beach.
Yeah, just living their best life, staying out of all the things in their nice, tropical retreat on Scarif. That would be nice. I can imagine them.
Yeah, why would you want to go back to fighting the Empire when you can just chill on the beach?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the ultimate holiday retreat, Scarif. You just hang around there for the rest of the time. I mean, that's not what they did. They're
Exactly,
dead.
beautiful.
But it's nice to imagine that that's what happened.
Yeah, that's the fairy tale ending. That's what we tell our children at night.
Yeah. It's like when you say that a dog's gone to a farm in the countryside.
Yeah, Jyn's retired
like,
in Scarif.
Yeah, Jyn and Cassian, they went to a farm on Scarif.
Oh, it's a nice way of thinking about it. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So that pretty much ties up all the theory. I mean, there were like obviously like the theories were based around those main points. I mean, the main point was that they looked really close in terms of physicality, and that they also had the same accent. That's pretty much it.
Like, it's one of those things of with the gift of hindsight, I'm just like, yeah, there was really no evidence at all. Yeah. So with that, shall we move on to the last? There's a few questions to finish off, but they're all kind of tied into the same thing, really, aren't they? So
Yeah.
So if I read out, your question was, how did Jyn get into prison? So how did she get locked up? And then I had a few questions which were all in a similar kind of vein. If you want to read those out now.
Yeah, definitely. So your questions were, how did Jyn get locked up and why? It's kind of explained in the film, but what exactly did she do? And the other one was, Wabani Imperial Labour Camp, an obvious anagram of Obi-Wan, but also, again, what did Jyn do to get there? It's awful muddy.
Did you get that when you were watching the film, that Wobani is an anagram of Obi-Wan?
Yes.
Yes. It's very obvious.
It's blatant. It's blatant.
There's only 6 letters, and they only changed around about 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty clear. You hear that straight off the bat, you just think Obi-Wan.
Yep.
And diggity damn, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Although the name isn't very creative, perhaps we shall talk about the planet more in a future episode.
Oh,
hint, 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 hint.
Hint. Diddly
More
hint.
to come, more to come. Please like and subscribe and hang on and refresh your feed every 20 minutes to check if we've released anything new.
We're going to get some good stuff on the go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hot pancakes with maple syrup for you, our fans.
So anyway, how did Jyn get into prison? That's what we're talking about.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So do you wanna talk a bit?
Yeah, definitely. So I found a few things on this. So first of all, I found some information regarding her illegal activities. So where I found it, they called it a rap sheet.
Yes.
So I'll
Her illicit activities.
Indeed, and so I'll just ring them off one by one. So this is her rap sheet. So, forgery of imperial documents, aggravated assault against imperial personnel, escape from custody, resisting arrest, shipjacking, possession of unsanctioned weapons, unlawful conduct with undesirables, whoever they are, petty theft, creating a public nuisance, and disorderly conduct. So she's got quite the list there of illicit activities.
My favourite one on that whole list is creating a public nuisance. Like, what is that? Is that like just not obeying like queue etiquette? That's like, did she like push in?
She just kicked a pigeon.
Yeah. Oh man, thank God.
I have no idea.
Lock her up, kicking those pigeons. They ain't done nothing to you. Well, it's the Star Wars. Kicking porgs. Oh, that's disgusting behaviour.
Cool. Hello there, everybody. Apologies. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're now back on track.
Good old technical issues. Always reliable in the fact that they're not reliable at all.
Yeah, completely reliably unreliable. That would be the correct, saying for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, sorry if there's a bit of overlap to what we've just said, but we're just going to jump back into what we were just talking about, which was, how did Ray? Good grief. No, we're starting again.
Whoa, we were miles behind on that one. That was last series, Charlie.
Oh, man. Yeah. I'm in March.
What are we doing? Where did those 6 months go? Nowhere, apparently.
We've done literally nothing since then. We haven't moved forward in any way.
Diddly squat.
Yes. So how did Jyn get into prison? That's what we were talking about. And I believe you were just chatting to us about her rap sheet and all the things she'd done.
Yeah, so I think, I'm not going to list it again because I think we listed it earlier, basically the long and short of it was none of her crimes involved harming or conning any civilians.
Yeah.
Her only targets were Imperials and criminals. So Jyn wasn't a murderer at all. She only killed in self-defense or in defense of others or during war.
I mean, that's a big, which is
slightly
there.
Debatable. Yeah, I know. It's very debatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like, as long as you can prove it was self-defense in court, it wasn't murder.
She never murdered anyone unless it was necessary or, just a bad day.
Yeah, exactly. I assume what it means by that is nothing was premeditated. She didn't go out of her way to try and want to kill someone.
That's what I found. There was a few occasions where she went on assassination missions as part of Saw Gerrera's group, and it was always the case of she was never actually able to go through with assassinating someone. It was always someone else would have to do it for her because she herself is not the killing type, really.
No, she's quite, what's the word? Quite nice.
Yeah.
I always found, I think the thing that gave that away, they threw in that scene where she goes and steals a kid for a bit.
Yeah.
And I always think, that's really nice.
Yeah, that's nice. Weirdly, we are going to talk about that in more detail in a later episode. So that's all to look forward to. Yeah.
Yeah, Jyn basically, wasn't a murderer, supposedly.
No.
Depending on your definition.
No.
So in 0 BBY, which is before Battle of Yavin, which Charlie pointed out, the 0 year was the year that Battle of Yavin happened, so that's why it's called 0 BBY. And the reason it is BBY and not ABY, as you said, was because
it's before.
Yeah, it's literally still before. So that's pretty self-explanatory there. But yeah, so she was arrested on her way to the 5 Point System on a ship. Mm-hmm. She was arrested as Liana Halleck. And she was transferred to the Wabani labour camp and sentenced to 20 years of labour. So
20 years hard labour.
Yeah, exactly. 20 years hard labour.
Yeah.
So I found a quote about the Wabani labour camp, which was, start quote, "Only petty criminals get sent to Wabani. No one from that sludge hole could possibly be that important," end quote. That was from Jory of the Red Fly. So basically...
no one from that sludge hole do we care about.
Yeah, exactly. So basically it's a place for like petty thieves to do some slave labour.
Yeah.
Pretty chill,
Weirdly,
really.
though, did you I found the fact that she got 20 years of labour, but people only tend to survive for 5 years working on Wobani, and it's like...
Yeah,
on,
they have
these are petty criminals. That's horrible.
Exactly.
Some serious prison reform is needed in the Empire because essentially they're just sending all these minor criminals to a place where they're gonna die.
I know, it's mental. The maximum life expectancy for a Wabani campmate was 5 years, like you say. So, like you say, again, it was just a death sentence. They were expected to work till they died.
Yeah. It's disgusting.
It is filthy. But I actually found something out which was quite interesting, and I think you'll find it interesting too, Charlie, is that she shared a cell with a Blutopian called Kennel.
I'm listening. Go on.
Yeah, so, okay, let me give you a lowdown on Kennel. So, real name, Ulin Musters, was a member of the Alliance to Restore the Republic.
Isn't that a character in Cluedo?
Oh, it might be. General Musters. Colonel Conundrum.
Yeah.
Apparently, she was a member of the Alliance to restore the Republic. So she was a rebel, and Musters threatened to kill Jyn for literally just waking her up one night.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, I don't know how, like, I guess that kind of harkens back to a bit on the old Cassian front where it's like, not all rebels are good people.
Yeah.
So, like, just because they're, like, grouped in the good guy, like, fraction doesn't also mean that they are actually nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, you're probably wondering, who is Ulin Musters? And Ulin is the weird squid-faced Ood ripoff at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good old
and
squiddy face.
Exactly. Ulin was a she. And Ulin liked to keep, what are they called? Just disgusting, what do you call them? Not termites, but the festering kind of
Cockroaches?
disgusting little... Yeah, just little creatures. She liked to have them on her body.
What? Excuse me?
Yeah, she liked to like wear them as a coat.
Oh.
Like to have them like, you know, these disgusting like festering bugs all over her.
That's horrible.
So she was absolutely like disgusting. So yeah, so basically what happened was she Ray was sleeping. No. Oh, I did it again. Whoops.
You've been played. Congratulations, you played yourself.
Walked into that one. Oh, yeah. What a muppet. But yeah, Jyn basically woke up one night and jolted herself upright because I assume, you know, she had a nightmare about the Empire, I don't know, murdering her dad or something.
Probably. Classic nightmare to have.
Exactly. Well then, anyway, Ulin Musters, which I believe is the name, basically wakes up and threatens to hurt Jyn.
Oh.
Just for waking her up.
Oh, I see. That's kind of an overreaction there, Colonel Mustard.
Yeah. But yeah, this is quite an interesting little like interaction between them. Ulin basically says to Jyn, "Do you want a warning before I do it?" And then Jyn goes, "Not really."
Nah, you're right. Then, just go for it.
And then Musters just turns around and goes, "I will give you one anyway. Next work crew we are on together, I will kill you then." So yeah, a bit ominous, you know, but at least she does give her a warning.
What was the point in asking if she was just going to give her a warning anyway?
I really don't know, but yeah, to each their own, I suppose. But yeah, it was literally all because Jyn just woke up in the night. That's literally all that caused it.
Oh, man.
But yeah, she's a bit
you know, I've known a few light sleepers, but frankly, that's ridiculous. I've never been threatened with death before from someone being woken up.
Yeah, but she's literally a disgusting character. Disgusting
creature.
And yeah, not all rebels are good, basically.
Absolutely.
So there we go. So that's my bit on Ulin and Wabani and stuff and the camp.
Yeah.
One interesting fact about Wabani, while we're there, you know, just a little taster, was that Leia, when she was 16, went on a humanitarian mission to Wabani. She managed to trick an Imperial officer and rescued 100 refugees, and then went on to rehome them in Alderaan.
Oh, that was a terrible idea, Leia. They're all dead now.
Yeah, exactly. Come to this planet. You'll be safe here.
I mean, she meant well. I guess that's what matters.
Exactly.
But it's kind of, it's always the thing of, and they took them back to Alderaan. It's like, no,
why would you do that, you fools?
Good grief, come on.
Oh, dear. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for the sort of the Labour camp question.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting, you know. Good, but then you also had one more little question, didn't you? Which was... quite entertaining.
Yeah, so this one was one very, very close to my heart because it's a very emotional scene. It's kind of the crux at the end of the movie of saying to Jyn that your father would have been proud of you. And it's like, you know what, Jyn? Your father would have been proud of you.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, don't we all just seek the approval of our parents.
Yeah, we do, and she finally gained it. I mean, a little late, but she gained it nonetheless.
And the important thing to remember is he was always proud of her too. She didn't need to earn it, but boy, did she.
Oh, did she? Did she? And a half penny. No,
Did
it was.
she?
I thought
Yes,
it was,
she did. She did.
Yeah, I thought it was a really touching scene. The fact that Cassian said that to her, and that's the perfect kind of closure she needed right at the end. Two friends just sat on the beach, and then they just get absolutely destroyed by these cosmic rays. Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna go to Scarif and we're gonna get absolutely annihilated.
Hey, hey, rebel, you rebel, we're rebels.
Let's. Yeah, and I think that brings us nicely to a close. That's all we got on Jyn for now, at least. We might revisit her in a future episode.
I think we definitely will. I mean, there's so much on Jyn, and there's so much overlap on everyone else. So I imagine we'll probably see her come up quite a fair few times.
Yeah. Don't worry, this won't be the last time we mention good old Jyn.
Oh, definitely not. Jyn, jiddly, Jyn. But yeah, I was going to say, do you have anything else to add just on the whole how did and why did Jyn get locked up, or did I cover the bases? Or
you covered most of the bases. I touched on a few things about how essentially, because it's never just how did someone end up in prison, it's not necessarily what crimes did they do, it's what lifestyle did they lead in order to become the person they were and ended up getting locked up. And it all comes back to essentially her associating with Saw Gerrera, who was a massive influence on her life, really. Although we don't see them together much on screen, their time spent together as she was growing up was a huge influence. And although, like you say, she never kills people, she's definitely not a wholly good person. She has done some questionable things, which ultimately...
No, she's done some dark stuff as well, yeah.
Ultimately made her end up in prison, which is where she deserved to be and should have stayed.
Exactly.
I can't believe she was broken out. She should have rotted in that prison, you filthy thief.
But that was one thing I don't think I ended up touching on, which was like the answer to the question I've just realised, which was, and why? Why did she get locked up? And I think that was just she she went through a imperial stop or whatever, and they could find her on the database, and I'm assuming all of this shit came up, and they were like,
yeah, absolutely.
Well, maybe not all of the shit, because she didn't get arrested for doing the serious stuff, but she got arrested for probably doing something like, I imagine it was petty theft and creating a public nuisance under the alias of Liana Halleck. And then they sort of arrested her and put her 20 years slave labor. So, I mean, it's a bit muddy still, but I think we can get a good idea of where, why she was arrested and where that was coming from there. So, I think we kind of answered the question.
If you look more into her backstory, you see that it wasn't the first time she'd been arrested. It was definitely a theme of her breaking in and out of prison. That was something she did all the time, pretty much. It just so happened that in this case it was a much more secure facility and was much harder to break out of. But thankfully, someone else broke her out for her, so that's all right. That's all's well that ends well, I guess.
Oh, definitely, indeed. But yeah, so what do you think of Jyn then? Like, after we've sort of explored her a bit, I mean, my personal opinion is that I think overall she comes around. But yeah, definitely had some grey influences, some darker side. Yeah. I think Saw Gerrera was probably not the best person to be trusted with a kid.
No, absolutely not.
So I mean, I feel like he should have just done a Hagrid and put Jyn, in a basket on someone's doorstep.
Yeah.
Instead of because I imagine Hagrid raising Harry would have been a nightmare. I mean, we don't know. Hagrid might have done a great job. He seems loving enough.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's a bit dangerous. I mean, might he have accidentally killed Harry by, I don't know, getting some random creature? We'll just never know.
We'll never know. But yeah, I definitely do think, she was unlucky. I mean, she was lucky that Saw was there to rescue her, but unlucky in that Saw decided to raise her. I think it was a bad influence on her and didn't do her any credit. Her dad probably, he was an Imperial scientist, a really successful scientist and an intelligent man who understood, to me anyway, understood right from wrong. So,
yeah, I think Jyn's a great character. She's interesting. She's compelling. Like, I just remember her story on screen. Although we only see her for one film, I'm definitely thoroughly invested in her character by the time it comes to the end. And unfortunately, she does end up going to that big old farm on a beach far away. Yeah.
I mean, she's hardly one-dimensional. She's got a lot going for her.
Not at all.
She's not good side or bad side. I just love it. I think it just makes for such a good character.
That was one of the best things about Rogue One, was the fact that all these characters were in some way very, like you say, morally grey. There was no truly good person, really. Well, you could argue Chirrut was a purely good person, but the rest of them were all flawed.
Oh yeah,
all had
it was definitely the rougher end of the rebellion,
problems.
and I think that was that was definitely counterbalanced. Like I don't know if you saw, but like all the grey characters, the morally ambiguous characters, the way they were dressed was quite dirty, rough. Darker stuff. But then when you saw the rebellion characters, the original rebels like Mon Mothma and Bail Organa and General Dodonna, all of those, it was all in a very bright environment. So you saw them as these figureheads, these really bright people. So I mean, it really did bring about a bit of gritty realism to the Star Wars universe, which was needed.
Absolutely, yeah. And not just in the sense of how they were dressed, but in the way it was filmed as well. Definitely all those war scenes felt a lot like you were really on the ground, and it was guerrilla warfare, really. And it was dirty, it was messy, and it was something different to what we'd seen in the films before.
Oh, most certainly. But as you can all probably tell, we really love Rogue One. But yeah, obviously
could talk about it for hours.
Exactly. Obviously, only this episode is only about Jyn. So we won't go too deep into Rogue One. There'll be more time for that in a future episode, most definitely.
Absolutely.
But that sort of brings us to a close. But yeah, I mean, Charlie, do you have anything else to add before we begin?
I'd just like to say I really enjoyed this episode, and I'm looking forward to what we got coming next.
Yeah, well, we've got a whole new series for you. I'm glad. People who are new to us, who are listening to our series for the first time, hello, welcome. It's great that you're here. People who've stuck with us throughout the past series, hello. Keep coming. Keep them coming.
And stay.
Yeah, stick around.
Thanks for coming back.
We have so much in store for you. We've done all these questions. There's so much knowledge and information we're going to tap into, and then just sort of let you put your headphones in or switch us on in the car and just listen to us talk about all these interesting aspects of Rogue One lore.
Sit back and enjoy us rambling on about our favorite Star Wars movie with the passion which was probably lacking from when we talked about the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're now talking about something we really like. So
we're coming in fresh.
It's all positive from here on out.
Exactly. No, it's all good. But yeah, also another heads up is that we'll be releasing podcasts weekly now. So yes, keep an eye out for those coming weekly. And if you haven't checked it out already, another little link in is our Lego Star Wars playthrough. So that's on YouTube.
Going strong.
Yeah, it's on our YouTube channel. So just give that a little watch if you like our voices and also want a little bit of colour and movement to go with them.
If you like sound but also visuals, have we got the series for you?
We can offer you some really good deals. But yeah, no, thank you for listening. I hope you're going to stay with us for the next series. We've got a lot more.
I might stick around. I'm still unsure at the moment.
Yeah, still trying to convince Charlie. What contract dispute?
I'm just a fan of popular podcasts.
Exactly. Oh dear. But yes, we'll stop rambling on. Thank you for listening to us, and until the next episode, goodbye there.
Goodbye there.
Thanks for listening to episode 2 from series 2 of the How Uncivilized podcast. We've got so much more Rogue One in store over this next series, so keep listening for the lore that never bores. Episode 3 is right around the corner, so get ready for some Freudian slips as we talk about Mummy and Daddy Erso.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit for all of your social media needs. We're also on YouTube, where you can find all of our podcast episodes, as well as our playthrough of LEGO Star Wars. The How Uncivilized Podcast was produced, created, and edited by Charlie, 20 years hard labour Feasby, and Spencer, You'll Only Last 5 Lawrence.